breast on the grill. We're actually slicing this meat to make it like deli meat for a reveal party. So first thing I did was I got underneath the skin here and I put pink Himalayan salt, kind of the coarse stuff under there. So that's my way of brining it without using a liquid brine. And then we're putting ghee all over it so that it will have, it won't stick and it'll have nice moisture. So now we've also generously seasoned it with pepper, more ground salt, garlic powder, onion powder, celery seed. Don't forget the smoked paprika. I used to never give that much credit, but smoked paprika really makes stuff great, especially when you're doing it on the grill. And then we added margarine and marjoram. I don't know if I'm saying that right. What am I missing? Anyway, some of these are optional, and rosemary and thyme are optional, but they're kind of nice, and always seasoned generously because you can't really overdo it at this stage of the game because there's so much thickness there that you want those subtle flavors to penetrate as deep as possible. So this is a turkey breast, but it still has the body cavity, and inside that cavity we're putting fresh thyme, fresh parsley, carrots, onion, celery, all the things we would do for a Thanksgiving turkey. A couple other things to be aware of. When you buy a frozen one, it takes about a day of thawing in the refrigerator for every 5 pounds of meat. This is a 7-pound turkey breast, but it's actually, we've had it in the fridge for almost 3 days and it's still not fully thawed inside the cavity, but it's thawed enough to cook it. Now the key is too, whenever I cook now, I use a thermometer. In a piece of meat like this, you want to make sure you get the meat up to 180 degrees in the thickest part. You don't want to go way over that because then you're going to dry your meat out. But you want to make sure that you get to 180, and that's key for a large piece of poultry in particular. So I use a thermometer to make sure that I get it cooked thoroughly enough, but so that I don't overcook it. I used to just overcook everything because I was afraid of poultry not getting done properly. So use a thermometer, and once you hit 180, I mean, yeah, it can go to 185, 190, no big deal, but you don't want it going up to 200 plus, because then you're going to ruin your piece of meat. Okay, so I've taken the grate out so that I can lay this down next to the fire. I don't want it right over the fire, and I will rotate this as time goes on, because what I want is indirect heat. When you're cooking a piece of meat this thick, you don't want too much heat directly on it. I'm basically making the grill into an oven, and I've got a little opening here in my foil, and I've poured a beer in there just to kind of keep it moist and punch it with a little bit more flavor. So just going to cover this up and, you know, let it take however long it takes. I'm guessing it'll be 3 hours, 4 hours. I want it to cook really slow so that it's evenly cooked from outside to inside. I don't want it cooked on the outside first and then drying out. So this party we're throwing has about 24 people. We're doing that 7-pound turkey breast. We're going to slice it for sandwiches, but we've also got a pre-sliced ham here. And I thought we need to warm it up anyway, so why don't we play with it a little bit and doctor it up, just give it a little bit of zing. So if you've watched my video on how I do the ribs, I like to use mustard on those. Obviously we don't need to cook this or really season it much, but I'll put a little mustard on there, a little brown sugar, kick it up a bit, and then I'll get a little smokiness in it by putting it on the grill with that turkey. And this is a little maple syrup. I kind of like a maple ham. I think that'll be delicious. I've got it in foil, but with a little parchment paper to separate so it doesn't stick to the foil. We'll bundle this up. And then, you know, when I get charcoal going, if you're going to spend the money on charcoal, it's kind of nice to get as much mileage out of it as you can. So this is kind of a most of the day event. But toward the end, I'll put on, I think I've got some nice fish for dinner tonight. So I'll throw that on there, and that way I'll get lots of meals out of this one batch of charcoal. So there's our ham, and we're going to add that to the stack out here on the grill. So word of warning, it's pretty cold today, about 39, 40 degrees. So this process is taking a lot longer than it normally would at normal temperatures. But you can see here we're at 185 now. The 186 I set as my target temp. That's in case I don't get the probe in at the very thickest part. I want to make sure I at least hit 180. And I did have to move the turkey around a little bit. I started with it low next to the coals, and that wasn't working very well, so I moved it to the top rack for quite a while, and then I finished it off on the main rack here. But now you can take a look at it, and here's my probe sticking in the thickest part of the breast. You can see I've got a little bit of liquid in there, and that's important because if you run out of liquid, that turkey's going to dry out and possibly burn, especially when you put it closer to the heat like this one eventually was. So let me get it out of there hot and let it cool down. Actually, I don't really need these because you can pick this up pretty easily with your hands because it's not that, you know, foil conducts heat so well that it cools off really quick. So there, I can kind of show you a little bit what it looks like. So that's been cooking about 6 hours instead of the estimated 3 to 4, but it should be wonderful. And I did cook some food for dinner before they pulled this off, and I put the ham on and everything. So we've gotten a lot of use out of our grill today, and we've cooked a lot of food on it. Of a taste, see what it's like. It is really good and really different than anything you could buy anywhere.
Smoky?
Yeah. It's like I didn't put smoke in there. I just used charcoal, and I kept adding charcoal, and so it would smoke.
And the salt is not too much.
No, it's not too
Can you
salty.
taste the paprika?
Yeah.
It's very tender and good.
If you try it, let us know. Leave a comment. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.